in studio.
We are really privileged to have this guy in studio. Ndio one of those founders wa muziki umemwona hapo kwa video, and so tuko karibu na kumkaribisha.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome
D. Josh. Let me tell you something. Si muziki peke yake mpaka Santuri.
Imagine.
Mpaka Santuri, the founders. Baba wetu kwa hizi industry.
Nini ndio mlitufungulia manjia?
Mfanya ni blush. Mnaongea about mtu mwingine? Anakuja sasa tumngojea.
Unafilika
karibu bro.
This other person.
Lakini hamkuniambia dress code tunafaa kuvaa hizi.
Tunataka
tumexchange. Hiyo umechukua old school alafu tukojua. Okay.
Unajua inakuwa rahisi kwa sababu ndio unajua ukivaka hiyo siku sasa watu wataona difference. People can see the difference.
Tuna feel for you sasa, as in we are wearing what you used to wear.
You guys look very smart, but huyu unamwonanga every week by the way. Asiwadanganye eti hii ndio dress code yake. During the week nikikutana naye anakuwa amevaa hivi.
Hivyo ndio tunakuwa tuchome nini? Nakuanga hivi. Sasa na leo ni Sunday. Ati ndio nilikuwa
lakini unajua tuliambiwa hizi nguo ni za watu wako na kakitu. Sasa unaona?
Watu wa kitambo wako na kakitu.
Inaweza kuwa.
Bro, but this guy doesn't get old.
He doesn't.
Yes, kama umeona from the video is the same.
Unatumia mafuta gani? Tuambie. Siri ni nini?
Kupika ama kujipaka?
Zote.
In fact, I was looking at that video and wondering,
who is this? Actually, you look older there.
By the way, auzeeki.
Hapo kwa video.
Thank you. You guys are too kind.
It's been how many years since your wimbo?
I think it's been 17 years since that song came out.
Yes.
17 years.
17.
Now I know where you are.
17 years. Si kwa nimefikiria atakuwa DJ. I just used to admire to one of these guys on TV.
17 years.
Yes, so big up bro.
Tumeshukuru, God has kept us well. Tuko mpaka leo.
Yes.
How long did you do this for? How long were you in the industry before you disappeared?
I was DJing longer than I was singing. So I started off being a DJ. I did that for about 3 years, and then I did music for slightly longer. And then I did music for about 5 or 6 years. And then I took a break. Nikaacha vijana waendelee na kazi. Na wanasukuma vizuri.
You know one thing about this guy? Nikiwanga, so you remember he had DJ Nets the other day.
Yeah.
So nikikwanga DJ student pale, nikijifunza ku DJ, this guy used to come there. Alafu nilikuwa naingishanisha muziki. Akiingia mimi nashindwa kile alikuwa anafanya. Zinagongana.
Anakuchanganya serious.
Unajua ile uoga yake sasa but he really encouraged me sana, ananiambia you can do it.
And
so big up bro.
17 years, but now you sang for how long? 10ish?
Music, well, you know, singing is not the day people see you. There's a lot of time that goes into preparation and practicing when you can't sing.
Yeah.
Sasa hiyo ndio ile ninaonanga kwa hizi music shows, watu waambie wangu hiyo time naonanga wengine wanaenda interview alafu wanaimba vitu zake hapo alafu mnamchekelea. So there's a lot of time for preparation, which is like 5 years, but actively singing in the music, like in the media, which was like about another maybe 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why did you take a break? Most people, but the last song I remember, alifanya animation, right? I think that was the last song.
Animation inaitwa nani?
Yeah, the music still exists. It's just haven't released a couple of jams, but my music now is a bit more for an older. My audience, I believe, even them, they used to jump. Sasa wamekuwa wazee, just like me. Your music senses change with time, over a period of time. So more mature, more laid back, hill songs, that sort of thing. I just haven't released. I don't feel like it's the right time. So when I feel that's the right time for me to put out music out there, I'll put out music. So it's not like a break that I haven't, again, actively on the media. It's a break actively from the media, not a break from really doing the music. But there's a lot of music out there that I haven't released, even with a bunch of other artists.
Okay, so tunangojea ama?
Tunangojea. Mungu akisema tukisikia it's the right time, we feel it's the right season, the music will be released.
Maybe Grace nimuulize.
Yes.
Do you have some moments that you can remember as a back then, you know, from events, you know, tulikuwa na different events. Actually, you had an event,
Yeah.
You used to have an event at Jesse's Groove, and then some of the moments you nakumbuka industry kianza.
When you guys were doing it for the first time, releasing us to this amazing thing.
Okay, the main thing I think I'd say is how I got into music was I knew I could sing. I didn't think I was really a really good musician per se, but I would hear a lot of music that was being done by secular artists, and I would definitely think I'm better than this, and this is what is being played on radio. I definitely can do better than this. I might not be putting out the best, but I can do better than what I can hear. And if guys can play this, I'm sure I have something to give. So that's I think one of the most pivotal moments. In fact, it came to me when I was in number 3. Those are the days when Ogopa ndo ilikuwa inasema.
Yes, that back then.
Yeah, so when they would just materi zote zilikuwa za Ogopa. So I would hear some of the artists that they would have and I would be like, "Ai. Surely, hii ndo mtu muziki nachezwa like constantly. Yes. I think I can do something." So that's it.
But what was a highlight for you during the music industry, like Mo was asking? Like, what stood out for you when you were still doing that?
I think there are many moments, but one thing I can say is mainly one of the highlights was just the guys that we had around. The guys that we were singing with. You know, when you came to this industry, there was no structure for how you will succeed. So it wasn't really about making money. It was just about if you love the music and you have the talent, it's something you can do. There was no structure. Like, you see when guys, even like now when guys do music, there's a sort of foundation. If I do this, if I do that, if I calculate it like this, I'll make some money. That didn't exist. It was just, unapenda Mungu, unataka kufanya muziki, you're into ministry. That was it. There was no basis. So I think I would say that it was, let me say the highlight was it was just pure. It was something that it didn't have an immediate reward attached to it per se. In fact, I remember many of the times when we were trying to ask people to pay us to perform, they would be like, they couldn't understand that. That phrase, ni kazi ya kanisa. So these people never used to understand why, because we would see secular artists getting paid, so we would ask, I mean, doing contemporary music has its own prices, it has its own costs in terms of paying for studio time, paying for videos, lifestyle, maybe having to look a certain way, dress, and it was just difficult for especially like that industry, particularly the gospel fraternity per se, to understand this is it's a commercial, it has a commercial aspect to it. So people would be like, maybe you're not really saved if you want to be paid. Maneno zingine
fanya kazi ya Mungu uende ukiambiwa ubarikiwe. But that has changed now. Now there's paying in the, I mean the industry is paying, music is paying.
Exactly.
My question, I think you touched on it. Did you have pressure for dressing? Najua nimeona video ya Mo alikuwa amevaa t-shirt, kofia imefika hapa haonekani. Nimekuingiza kwa interview. T-shirt refu.
Wewe umeona video yake?
Sasa ndio namuingiza on the spot. I have to put him on the spot. Did you have pressure kuvaa nguo? You had
There's of course pressure for a certain lifestyle, because nobody wants, people aspire to be what they see. So nobody is trying to be what they already are. So if somebody is seeing you on TV and they're like, let me put it even this way. The same way I was thinking to myself, I can definitely do better music than this, so I became a musician. People want to aspire to be something else. So they want something to look up to. So of course that will come with the lifestyle. And of course even as you portray yourself, I don't think even if you're not a musician, everybody, mnafanya hata fashion hapa size, everybody wants to look good. Normally, it's a normal thing. So it's just that the fact that when you're an artist, there's a lot of pressure on you, because for example ukifanya hii show uvae hizi nguo, kesho na kwanga na outfit moja tu bana, na show zote tu na ile suruali yake ya red na ile t-shirt ya green, anakujanga kila siku anavaa tu hiyo nguo moja bana, you know, ile kitu yake imeisha hata side soli imekaa hivi. That's it. So of course there's just a pressure for a certain lifestyle. Sometimes the pressure is beyond what you could do. I remember one day I was passing somewhere, and then you know these guys who are normally there saying things like Simu 10 bob, sijui nini, these guys are doing promotion. So the guy is shouting at me when I'm walking, and ananiambia, DJ Josh, wewe unatembea huko? Hata hujainunua gari bana, unatembea tu bana. So you see there's a certain pressure, even if there's no money, people will have an expectation of. And then you know in Kenya people think when you have a hit song,
pesa inakuja direct.
Pesa inakuja immediately.
Do you know there are guys wenye nafikiria hata sasa hivi wenye umekuja kwa TV tunakulipa? Nilikuwa kwa TV unajua ulipewa kitu.
Sasa check nitachukua kwa nani? After hii niingie kwa account
Ndio hiyo.
I know, so sometimes that happens, but you know, it's normal life. So people always have, you can't force people from thinking.
Okay.
People always, mtu atajijazia ile kitu atajijazia, but you know the reality, vitu kwa ground is different.
Vitu kwa ground is different. So maybe msiana shindwa, okay, now these guys have been there, and maybe they want to get some unajua ile ujumbe ama some inaitwa nini advice from you, because wase sasa unajua wanataka vitu inaitwa microwave generation ama artist, they want to remove a song sasa kesho isha hit na itue show na nunue nyumba.
Ni kweli.
Yes.
What I can say is this, what I've learned from studying the Bible,
Yes.
God is a person who's into process. If you really tunaelewa God created the earth, na ali create the earth in 6 days, angesema tu siku moja basi kila kitu ikue immediate,
Yes.
na kila kitu itokee. Christ came and lived on earth for 33 years to be able to achieve his assignment. Yeah. So hata Yesu angezaliwa kama ni mtu mkubwa, asulubiwe the next day, hiyo story ishe hivyo kama amerudi. So God is into process, and constantly you can see multiple stories. People getting stuck in the desert for 40 days. Noah and the ark.
Okay.
I mean, 40 days Noah and the ark, 40 years the Israelites being stuck in the desert. So constantly there's always the issue of time. Mungu ni it's time. It's an issue of time. It's an issue of time. So always utajipes, things can't happen hiyo venye watu wanafikiria. It's an issue of patience. And then what I've also learned is that through the season of time, there are things that unaweza itwa, for example, partially what I know today or what I do today are lessons I learned when I was doing music. And God is into step by step. Unaambia mtu kanyaga maji, alafu come follow me. He told the fishermen, go to that, rudini huko pale mmetoka. Process. Unaangalia tu samaki ndio mnataka. Samaki ndio hizi zimetokea. You see, so some of the things you learn through following instructions. Unafanya hii kwanza, you through obedience you get a reward. So it takes time.
Okay. We have a tweet here. I think do you have something on social media? Yes, it's coming. It's loading there. Iko hapo kwa screen. Kevin Murunde anasema good. Kevin Murunde anasema DJ Mo, huyo jamaa alikuwa na squad inaitwa El Shaddai Movement. It was serious. Tell him to talk about it.
Huyo ni mtu alikuwa anakuja events.
I know
Huyo ni mtu alikuwa anakuja events.
Yes, wanacheki.
So what used to happen, El Shaddai Movement was one of my companies. We used to organize many of these events. Hizo zingine umetaja. By 2, ingine ilikuwa tulikuwa tunafanyanga 24th. Just a different number of events that we used to do. So we would have something almost every month, an event that guests could go to.
Okay.
So that's what he's really referring to. And it had a group of people, Porcupines. Most of them are actually in the video. You mwana hapo, we used to work closely with guys like Daddy Owen.
Yes.
Just a number of other guys who are not famous, but walikuwa wanakuja wanatolea service ya kufanya job.
Yep.
More or less. But ni watu tulifanya nao job sana, tulibariki watu wengi.
Ndio hiyo. So it was scored by ya ministry na baada ya kutafuta pesa. Sasa wangeitwa Star Bar.
El Shaddai Movement, let me give you a funny story. It had ilikuwa Mbogi. It had different aspects to it. Kulikuwa na also group hapo ilikuwa inaitwa Skodi Sauti. Which in Skodi Sauti, the only female dancer was 1 size 8. One somebody's wife over here. And it had also a guy called Delvo who's in Sauti Sol now.
Yes, Delvo, yes.
So there are a bunch of guys too walikuwa tunafanya na job. But hao walikuwa wanatusaidia sana. In fact, when they used to heavily promote. Hizo siku unajua tulikuwa tunafanya event huko na social media. Unachukua flyer unastick kwa matatu. Hiyo nilikuwa social media.
Yes.
Watu walikuwa wamejitolea kufanya. Hiyo ndio kazi walikuwa wamejitolea kufanya kwanza. Promoting the event really did good. Unajua vitu zingine ni Mungu tu anarudishia watu.
Sawa.
Watu wako na maswali, lakini now finally as we wind up, maybe if you look into this camera, what is your advice to the young generation? Sai kuna watu wanatokea, musicians coming up, there's all that pressure with the outfits, with the venues, the videos, with the everything. There's gari sijui kae aje kwa video sai, you know, all those things that people feel like they need to impress everyone and
They
all
want
that.
to trend.
Exactly. Tutafanya chochote kwa
Lazima
trend.
pige kiki.
Sahi ndio, but they say kitu kiwa real. Mtu anasema tu hiyo ni kiki. So that we don't take people serious anymore. Okay. What is your advice to them?
The worst thing you can do in life is to not have an identity. Because identity is what will separate you from everybody else. Sometimes it's not really even in what some people are telling you in terms of the look and feel for the video. It's in what you're guided to do. And I've seen videos that have the spend on the video is really low, but the song is a really good song, and that song does well. So it's knowing what what you've been called to do and the purpose for which ile journey unatembea, because ukijaribu tu kufanya what everybody else is doing, you'll end up spending a lot of money. I've also seen very good videos that never really get played, or very good songs. Music also, it's two ways. If you're going to talk about music, aside from, let me take it this way, if you're going to talk about music and it's not really gospel music, you're just going to talk about music as a whole, as an industry, you're more likely to be a successful musician if you're a better businessman than a singer, than to be an actual good singer and a poor businessman. Because all these songs you would always hear and wonder, that's a good song, mbona sijaisikia? Haichezwa wangu hiyo wimbo. You know, so in terms of strategy and putting your music out there, that's one thing I would say. That is across the board, secular or gospel. If you're going to talk about gospel music, let me use the example that I used. It's when Christ came and he was calling the fishermen, akambia, go to the water and fish in that same spot. Those guys were like, bana, we've been here. Tumekuwa hapa, tumekuwa tukifish, hakuna kitu. Akawambia, sasa nimwambia endeni hapa. We all know what happened. The difference is moving with instructions and just doing things on your own will prove, in terms of action, it's the same exact action, but you'll have a different reward. That's what I can say.
So it's just being obedient to God again.
Yeah, and just getting direction from God. Because when you have direction from God, you see God will open, the same way those fishermen were given fish, he'll create favor, he'll direct your path, because he knows what he needs you to do. But trying to figure out everything on your own, or the worst thing you can do is to try and imitate somebody. You just need to be your own. You know, we need grace. We need another Mo. We don't need another DJ Josh.
Yeah, it's true.